Hey guys, today I'm going to do book talk on The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. So The Assassin's Blade is the prequel to the Throne of Glass series. It takes place before the very first book. It's a really good installment and I loved reading it. It was really good to learn more about Selena's background and all of that stuff and how she came to where she was. So if you have not read this, you should definitely do that, because especially if you've read the other books in the series, it's a great addition. If you want to watch my book talks on the first book, Throne of Glass, second, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, or Tower of Dawn, click the I appear. So if you haven't read this book, goodbye for now. Go read it and then come back and we can talk about it. Okay, so this starts out with her. It's a collection of 5 short stories. The first one, The Assassin and the Pirate Lord. So it starts out, she's in the Assassin's Keep, and they had just learned that 2 of the assassins had been murdered. One of them, Ben, was kind of like a father to her, and it's really the only one of them that she cared about. So when she heard that, she was outraged, and she went to go retrieve his body. And then she was sent by Orbob with Sam to Skull's Bay to what she thought was get money from Ralph for to make it equal, because they thought that he killed them. So they go into the meeting, and he was already 2 hours late, and so Selena was looking around all of his stuff, and she was being her usual self. She was sort of being very sassy and just, which I loved because I found it hilarious. Since I love Selena's personality, so it was funny. She was like going through his stuff and trying to find out everything that she could. And she was also going through his drinks and like asked Sam like, care for a drink, and she hates Sam. And so Sam was like, Selena, get over here, stop doing that. And then when Ralph finally came in, he saw her and he's like, made yourself at home. It's like, get out of my chair. And they got really mad, and they started talking, and then eventually she was like going up about what that would have for her. Eventually she gave him the letter, and he read it, and he's like, yeah, it's talking about a slave trade. She's like, what? Like, that can't be what Orbob sent her to do, because, he knew her thoughts on that. And so she was like, kind of like, oh my gosh, why didn't you tell me this and all that? And Sam was acting cool like he already knew. So when they got to the room, then he's like, I knew as little as you did about this. She had started hatching a plan right then that she wanted to free all these slaves, and she had to ruin the deal somehow. That night she couldn't eat because she wore a mask and a cloak to hide her identity, so no one knew what Anneline's assassin looked like, so she could always be free and to roam around. So she couldn't eat, and she was getting mad, even though because it smelled really good and it looked good. And then later she followed Ralph to his office where he was going, to try to get all the information she could about the slaves. And she originally settled on the fact that she would go with him to inspect them, because she was making it seem like she wanted to make sure she got a good batch. So she went with them to inspect them, and she's like, any of you know how to speak the common tongue? And one guy was like, I do. So okay, you'll be the translator. So later, after they had been on the ship, she told Sam about it, because Sam was in too. So they went to the boats, and she started unlocking all the chains, and then she had told them like to sail off direction. They had to go as soon as first light, I think, and they would at dawn they'd have to go, and they would be at the ship wake up. So they went, freed them all, and then Sam did the same on the other boat, and then they both went to go disable shipbreak. They went to disable the shipbreaker so it wouldn't break all the ships. And so Sam had run uptown. He was having to fight back the guards, and then he managed to get to it. And to get it down, he shot at the tower, and the tower crumbled. Selena freaked out and tried to get to him, but she had to fight Ralph first. And to distract him, she took off her disguise so he could see her and see how old she was. And then after she had got him, he ran over she made him sign a thing that said that they weren't going to do business with them, and that he would never do business, slave business, and that would always be safe haven. It made him put a seal on it, and then she went to find Sam. And when Sam didn't respond, she freaked out and screamed at him. So, then Sam told her that he loved her. So they figured that out, and Selena didn't hate Sam anymore. She felt the same feelings for him, and Sam said that Sam said that he had loved her forever, basically. So when they had gotten back, this is where the next story starts, Assassin and Healer. It starts a little bit after this, but Bob had beaten them both unconscious, and he had pulled Sam back and made Selena watch. And then she was sent off to train with the Silent Assassins and had to get a letter of approval in a month from the Mute Master. So she stopped with the next one. She stopped in Inish, and she was staying in an inn to get on a boat to travel all the way down to the deserts. And she was staying at this little inn, which is also the inn that Urin was staying, kind of like in Tower of Dawn, the same person, you know. So she was the barmaid there. Selena was staying, and she had lots of money, so she was kind of flaunting it. And then she, that later, when Urin was taking out the trash, she heard some noises, and then people came to attack her. So Selena was just happened to be there because she needed to get away, because she was looking for a fight, and she found them, so she dispatched them. Then Yuin was amazed at that, and so Selena decided to teach her some self-defense, and she taught her a few moves to help her defend herself. And then some of the guys that she had killed, their people came back, and she's like, "You got this," and she let her. First, she got one of the people, and then the other person she left to Yuin because she originally went inside, but then they found her. So after she got him, she had managed to get him down. She's like, and Yurin's like, I could have died. She's like, no. She's like, yeah, you got it. Selena was just kind of sitting there. She's like, you got it. You can do this. And then, Yurin was, before this, she was patching up, and they started talking about what they were doing, and that Yurin wanted to be a healer, and she wanted to go to the Southern Continent, but she ran out of money, so she had to stay here. She hadn't been able to leave. And Selena's like, I'd rather be on the streets in Southern Continent than in this inn right here, because it was horrible. And so Selena, on the way back, she had left some money with a note that said, to get you to the Southern Continent and some more, the world needs more healers, and left her brooch. And then she, quick as an assassin, obviously, got on the boat to leave. Which is really good. I really like that story was in here, because that was Tower of Dawn kind of correlates with that, the stranger that she had seen, because it's the same person, which I like that story in there, because that I just wouldn't know about. The next one, the assassin in the desert, she manages to get to the Silent Assassins, and on the way there, she had turned 17. So she's only 17. The first one, she's only 16. Now she's 17. So she was, after she had finally got there, she went to the meat master and was saying, and greeted him as I'm yours, I want you to train me. And then he had sent people on her, and so he disabled them without weapons, because they had been taken from her at the door. And then after that, he had a bunch of people come forward, and Ansel, she was sharing a room with Ansel, so Ansel took her and was constantly changing her voice level with 3 different areas. Some areas she was whispering, some areas she was silent through, and some she was talking normal through. Different areas of the Silent Assassin's place. So she was like, I need to train with him. And it's like, well, first you can just train with me. So they ran, I think it's 3 miles or 2 miles. 2 to 3 miles, something like that. I think it's 3 miles to the next oasis with buckets of water there, so they could have water on the way back. It's like, you train with me. So they went, and eventually Selena had to start walking. She went between walking and running, and then she finally got there. And she relaxed, and then by the time she got back, the day was over and it was time for dinner. So this had kind of been what it was, and then the next day, Anne's was like, well, you'll go further tomorrow, don't worry. Even if it's just a tiny bit farther, you'll go farther. And at dinner, she had seen the mute master's son, who also was under the silence. So he was like talking, and he had looked at her and kind of like flirtingly looked at her. And she, so she went to, after that, eventually the mute master started training her and was teaching her to move like different animals and that's quickness and everything. And then they had gone to before this, they had gone to the kingdom that was nearby to try to, Ansel was trying to give peace with the king there to stop attacking the assassins. And she had been going through town and wandering all the booths, and she found a booth of spider silk of also a person from Tower of Dawn who was selling it. And she had he had asked her if she could help him kill the spider that had stolen it from him. It's his 20 years from him. And as a reminder, he gave her a little patch of spider silk that was just enough to cover her heart, which she later uses to put in Sam's suit. So they, Ansel and her, they raced back on Austrian horses they had stolen from the kingdom. And they got there and they're like, since we both have horses as a punishment, can we just clean out the horse barn? So they had done that, and then Ansel was mad and they started arguing and they called each other horrible things. But then they kind of made up. After training with the thing and everything, one day Selena had just, after the fight, she had just gone, like, slept for a while, and then she woke up, and Ansel was there, and she was like, I hope you'll remember me fondly. And then she gave her a drug in her drink that made her pass out, and she woke up in the middle of the desert with the horse and a note that was supposedly the letter of approval from the master, although it wasn't. So she went and heard and figured out that they wouldn't have sent her away if they would have known about it, because they were being attacked. So that's why Ansel had sent her away, because she didn't want her in the attack. So she went back and found that Ansel had orchestrated everything, and she was trying to kill the assassins. And if she had killed the mute master and brought the head back to the king of the desert, then they would give her an army to take back Briarcliff, where she came from, before going to this assassins. So Selena and her had a fight, and eventually she had won, and she was like, get out of here now, you have 20 minutes, and then I'm firing an arrow, and if you're out of firing distance, so you better be out of firing distance. And the assassin, mute master, he had started talking to her and telling her that. So Selena felt super betrayed, and the assassin person, mute master, was telling her that it was okay, and that probably the closest thing Ansel ever had to a friend. So after she went up there, and after 21 minutes she fired, and it just barely missed Ansel. It was like a little bit behind, so it would have killed her if she would have waited 20. She did that one last thing for her. When she got back to, she got a letter of approval from the mute master, and then she went back to Rifthold, where she gave the letter to Orbob and got back to doing everything. And then she and then he was showering her with gifts and a new suit that was super nice with like built-in weapons And then she asked, and she got it for free. And she asked the tinkerer to put spider silk in Sam's one right over the heart so it would protect him, because spider silk was impenetrable. And so she, she went to the theater with Orbob like she loved to do. And then he gave her a job to kill someone who he said had a list of names of all of the people that were opposed to slavery in Melisande, and if they killed him, they would all be safe. It was hired by the ex-wife of the person. So she formulated a plan, and she went with Sam. They were watching the house, and then she snuck into the study and was searching through it when she was attacked by the guards, and then she woke up in the sewers, and they were going to flush the dirt off the streets, so water started rushing in, and all of them had left through a door that led to the house. And she thought she was going to drown. She climbed his fire can, she was screaming, and Sam came to help her. And he eventually found her and managed to save her life, so she wasn't as mad at him, because she had thought that he spent the whole summer with Lysandra, who she hated, who was a courtesan, but he actually hadn't, and so now they didn't hate him as much. And then the next time, they managed to formulate a plan where, using that door, she'd sneak in when a servant came out, and she'd go up to the office to wait for the thing, and then Sam started fire as a distraction. So when the meeting time came, because earlier she had figured out when she went to the party for them, figured out when the meeting time was, and she killed him, and then the other person she couldn't kill, he managed to run away, and before that she had looked at the documents, saw all of that, but, so he managed to run, and then the fire, and she started to run out when a guard was like, you don't even know anything, he loved his country, and she went back and gave everything she had gotten to Orbob, and Orbob was like, I thought you'd be smarter than that, didn't you know? I thought you could piece it all together, that the person she had killed had been the person trying to stop slave trade, and his wife, who had hired them, was the one who gave all of this, who had all the papers now, of all the people that had safe houses and all that. So now and if she gave it to the king, they would all be killed. So she was very mad at Orbob, and that's when, because she had purchased an apartment, that's when she finally managed to buy her freedom and send her over the edge. So she also moved, because she had bought her freedom earlier, Maas to give her a bunch of chests, and then she had told him she was moving out. So, and the last one, because that was in the Assassin General, the Assassin in the Empire, her and Sam are living together. She had also paid for his freedom at her apartment, and they were trying to find a job, and so they were like, and Sam was like, why don't we just leave? And so it's like, well we would need one more contract, because they couldn't find any. So Sam had been fighting for money, because he could get some, and Selena was mad about it, because he told her not to, because she had told him not to. And then they managed to get a contract to kill the crime lord and his assistant. So they set about a plan for that, and Orbob had snuck into the apartment and be like, you can't do that. You're going to get yourself killed. And they decided that Sam would kill Jane, the crime lord, and Sam would kill Farron, the assistant, and then she would get to kill Jane. So they had followed him and everything. And then Sam had gone to where he was going to go kill the assistant. And then Selena was so worried, and then they had told her to pack because they were going to the southern continent. So she had packed a few things, but then time had passed. So she started pacing, and then she went out to look from all the spots, and she didn't see him anywhere. And then she went back and ended up falling asleep. And then she went out again, and she came back later and saw Orbob there. And she came in, she's like, I'm going to be so mad at him. And then she saw it was Orbob, so she freaked out, and Orbob was like, I'm sorry. She's like, no. And then they went to the keep and saw his body. So she was lying by him, and then she had fallen asleep, and someone had brought her to her room in the Assassin's Keep. And she heard whispers of they were going to kill Jane and Farron and for Sam, because he had been tortured. And then she had heard it, so she went to go after him, and Wesley had stopped to be like, don't you understand? And she had knocked him out before he could say anything. So she went and she jumped to the window they were talking about and saw that they were meeting. Jane and Farron were there, some other people, and then a bunch of guards. The guards were around her, and she started killing them, a bunch of them. And then she threw a dagger at Jane, and so she was dead. Or he was dead. And a gas thing filled the room. All the guards were wearing gas masks, and so was Farron. And it made her knocked out, and then she woke up and she was paralyzed. And Farron was like, man, talking to me, he's like, man, I wish I could keep you, but that wasn't the deal. I can't hurt you at all. And then he's like, thank you for, and like, I won't forget if you survive. I'll be ever in your debt. You gave me my crown. So Selena woke up again in the dungeons of the royal dungeons. And after a few days, she had a trial with the king, and the king was like, the guards and everyone were talking. He was like, you're so young. How old are you? She wouldn't respond. She's like, I can't live in a world without Sam. Basically, my life's over. And then the king was talking. He's like, do you deny these? Do you deny? And then you're charged with the murder of, and listed all the people she had killed. So do you deny these charges? Your silence will mean yes. So she didn't say anything. And the king was like, look at me. Do you have any other request? She's like, after he walked away, she had looked up at him, and she had sensed the fear, and she's like, get away. She wanted to say that. And then he left. After she was walking back, he's like, make it quick. And he's like, oh, really? Then I won't do that. So that's when he sentenced her to end of raw, because it would be torture before she died. So she was in a prison wagon for days when she saw the white stag of the north, of Terrasun, and she was like, oh my gosh, run away, go, what are you doing, you're gonna die. She's like, run away, you stupid. He managed to get away, and then when she finally got to End of Raw, and Sam had told her the thing that she used before in the book, so I remember reading it. It was, Sam's like, when I'm afraid, I like to say, my name is Sam Cortland, I will not be afraid. She's like, does that work? And it's like, sometimes. So she started using that, and when they got to the end of Raw, she's like, I have to get up, I will not be broken, I have to stand up or I'll be broken before I go in. So she's like, I'm going to survive this, I got this. So she's like, my name is Selena Sardathian. And then she's like, my name is Selena Sardathian, and I will not be afraid. And then it ends up with her going into salt mines. The guards pulled her out, and she started there. So I love this. It was so good. I loved reading about Selena again, because she hadn't been in Taverdon but for like a page and a half. I loved reading about more of her background and her and Sam. And I cannot wait for the 7th book in this series to come out next year. I cannot wait to see how this great series wraps up, because this is honestly one of my favorite series that I've read. So thank you for watching, and make sure to comment your opinions about the book down below. Bye.